Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan are here with me. Thank you very much to so many of you now who are interacting with us, engaging with us and subscribing as well. If you hit the subscribe button and the bell, you'll get notifications of when we add our additional video content, as well as joining us Monday to Friday 4 o'clock till 5. And on the Saturday, Tam McManus and myself bring you the half-time and full-time reports from all across the Scottish Premiership and beyond, and we get reaction from the managers and players. And if you download the app, you'll get it all at your fingertips. So with that in mind, before I start chatting to these guys about possible transfers in and out, here's a wee quiz question for you, because there is indeed Nicholas Raskin all set to sign for Rangers. Who is the last Belgian to play for Rangers? Have a wee think about that. We'll give you the answer at the end of the programme. And as ever on this programme, every week all the way through to the end of season, we're going to give you the opportunity to win yourself a prize in our competition. Last week it was a guy called Andrew Taggart who won the prize for the match attacks, and also we gave away to John O'Neill the signed Jota canvas. And this week Kerry has the details of the latest prize.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. If you would like to win this replica Luka Modric shirt, then all you have to do is answer this simple question. Just tell us, which country does Luka Modric play for? Post your answer in the comment section below, and to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, and there it is there. I'll just move because Ruffy says you're sitting right in front of it, but there's the Modric shirt. Is that okay, Ruffy?
Yep.
It's a chance for you to get that replica Luka Modric, Real Madrid. It's got the 14 emblem in the Champions League. You happy?
Sorry, as if we doing that, you still weren't in front of it.
Exactly. I'm running as much as I can to try and give myself a chance to let you see these prizes.
What a player.
It's a belter, isn't it?
Aye, brilliant.
Fantastic. Never know, in the twilight of his career, Tam, he could sign for Motherwell just as
he's a free agent.
Just as a
many hours have we got left?
Absolutely. It's happened before. So good luck with the competition. If you think you know the answer, then by all means you can engage with us there. If you go across all our social media channels, you will indeed see other areas where you can enter the competition as well. So good luck with everybody there. And Brian says, Peter, is Ruffy ever going to show us his new gong? Well, Brian, the problem for yourself is that you don't realise that Ruffy did indeed bring in his new gong. The minute the day after you got it, Ruffy, you brought it in, didn't you?
Yeah, I wore it on my shirt the day afterwards, and I didn't want to keep wearing it all the time, but I don't mind. If he wants me to wear it, I'll wear it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were off for a couple of days after that, because obviously you had kind of a metal poisoning just from licking it.
Yeah.
Would you be happy with an MBE or an OBE, Tam?
It was. I'm hanging out for the knighthood, but no, it was great to see Ruffy wearing it that day. I thought it was very funny the way you introduced it to the boys and to the audience.
Yes,
and that was excellent. And I get a wee bit of goosebumps when I saw the video in the news of yourself and your family. I thought, good on you. There's somebody I can call a pal getting an honour like that.
Absolutely. Thanks to Norman Heaney, who's joining us from Ardoyne in Belfast. So many people, and I think Sean Maxwell says the transfer window will close 11 p.m. in England, and Scotland it's midnight. Thanks for that, Sean. A lot of people will be wondering if there's going to be any activity in their club, so we're going to talk about that. Here's the Premiership fixtures that you can look forward to tonight and tomorrow night as well. There's some really good games. Ross County against Hibs is this evening, and then it's Aberdeen against St Mirren, Celtic Livingston, Hearts against Rangers, Kilmarnock Dundee United, and Tam, you and I will be heading to Motherwell versus St Johnstone.
Yeah, a 9-pointer, forget a 6-pointer. That's looking great. You know my well-held belief that whenever a team needs a result, a goalie needs a clean sheet, a manager needs a performance, a striker needs a goal. They always seem to play Motherwell next.
Yes.
St Johnstone have had 7 defeats in the bounce, so I'm looking forward to their visit to Fir Park. But no, I mean, in a kind of strange sort of way, I enjoy a game like this. I enjoy it. Motherwell been embroiled in a relegation battle. It has happened a few times down through recent years, And I kind of, in a strange way, do say bring it on, as long as we don't actually get in trouble at the end of it, you know. And it gives games a wee edge, you know. And again, well done to the Blazers, who never get the credit they deserve, and you don't hear that often. Back in the day when they did rejig the leagues and we had playoffs and that, and you know, the league being split and everything, it definitely does add a wee bit of excitement, because Ruffy will remember back in the day, and those are the days that folks say, I wish we could return to them, when it was a big 18-team league. Like, you'd sometimes get even to this stage in the season, tipping into February, and there'd be fixtures featuring teams in the middle of the league, and they were meaningless.
So you like a 12-team league?
Bring it on.
You like a 12-team league with 6 teams fighting off relegation?
Yeah, brilliant. Bring it on. Bit of excitement, puts bums on seats.
Wow. Ruffy?
I want the extended league, but I don't want, well, obviously what Tam's just explained, I don't want an easy street down the bottom. If it's an 18-team league, I would expect the bottom 3 or the bottom 4 to suffer.
Yeah.
Some kind of playoff, something like that.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't think there should be a safe zone anywhere.
I can't stand the 12-team league. I think it absolutely pressurises managers into a situation where the opportunity to actually play anybody and get somebody just slowly but surely introduced at a home, you know, some homebred players, just get anybody. And I don't want to fall into that role of being against foreign players, but I really would like to see an opportunity for managers to get young players in. Don't care where they come from, but get them in and get them blooded in the team, because I think that's what we need. But to start a league and then all of a sudden have 6 teams worrying about relegation, I think it's wrong.
Yeah, but it's what I can see where Tom's coming from. It is exciting but as long as you're winning, you know. But once you get down to the crunch and you realise what's at the end of the road, if you do get relegated, and the financial side of it, and people losing their jobs, and you know, not just players but staff and everything that goes along with it, I don't think I'd like to be in the pressure of that scenario, you know. But as it is just now, it's exciting, you know, because we've got all these teams, and every game is 3 points is a lifeline, you know, and that's why the game that you are going to is a massive game for both teams.
It is. The playoffs, don't get me wrong, at any level, the bottom part of it, trying to get into the top half of it. I mean, the playoffs from the championship, trying to get up, it's great, Tam. I do love that part.
Those games are unmissable.
I think it's absolutely exciting at the tail end of it. By the way, you could still have that. You can still have that with a 16-team league.
You're right. I'd not for expand the league as well, but you're right, but not at the cost of competition.
No.
If you expand the league, then I totally agree with Ruffy, whereas now we've got 2 teams at the bottom that are in bother. One falls through the trap door and one goes into a playoff. Then if you were expanding at 16, 18, whatever it is, you'd need to make sure that the bottom 4 had something to play for at the end of the season, or something to look out for.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I lived in Edinburgh for 12 years, Tam, right? This is the God's honest truth. And Ruffy, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but every now and then, Edinburgh is a lovely place for being able to, you can walk round that, you know, after theatre, you can walk round up the Royal Mile, down, you get access to everywhere. And we always used to walk past the...
Who's we? Gives a wee bit of background.
Well, just me and my nephew, who was staying with us at the time. He was studying there. So we'd walk round the shops with the Scottish stuff, you know, with the tap and stuff and everything. And the two of us used to look at each other and go, I wonder what type of nutcase buys that kind of a purple Scotland sweatshirt. And we'd look and we'd go, who would wear that apart from an American from the deep south? And there's no way some idiot would be wearing it from our area. But sure as fate, you are actually the first person I've seen with one of those. And you know what? You bought it because it was cheap, didn't you?
No, I bought it because I was on a wee trip in my motorhome last October, and we were at the Gretna Services. Right. And you know what, I'm a proud Scot, and I thought I can't go another few yards over that border without having something specifically Scottish. I think it's alright.
Yeah,
it's better than the chunky golfer look.
Yeah. Can I ask you this? See when you get to the Scotland sign, do you cheer?
Yes, we do a countdown on the way back. Always take a wee video and my wee lassie joins in. You do 3, 2, 1, yay!
Yeah, absolutely. Do you do that, Ruffy?
Yes, I do it.
Absolutely.
Ruffy's wife does that if he makes it home at night. Here's the Keegan in. Oh,
he's back. I think every Scot does that, don't they? Great to be. How lucky are we to live in the best country in the world?
I know. How bad would it be if it was a border? You had to check with a passport and all that.
Oh, aye.
Oh, hey,
Shocker.
calm your jets. Don't get into politics.
political.
There's already people that will be starting to leather us for that one, by the way. Okay, transfers as well to talk about.
What's happening? I'm a wee bit out of time here. I had a day out yesterday.
I'll intertwine it with the rest of the games as well, right?
Great, right. So you went Motherwell St. You did Motherwell St. Johnson. Nothing happening there.
I only did it at the start just to get you
Sorry,
excited.
I'm excited.
So Ross County against Hibs. I noticed that our friend who was in here a few weeks ago, Sean Maloney, he is the Wigan manager now. He was sniffing about trying to get maybe Kevin Nisbet and Josh Campbell, and I think Hibs are having none of it at the moment.
Well, Campbell's just scored a hat-trick, and the fans would be up in arms if that was to happen. I don't think the money was there for Nisbet. I think they tried to get 50% of what Millwall were going to pay. So no, it's not a deal, you know. And I'm glad that Nisbet doesn't seem to be pushing the boat. He doesn't seem to be desperate to get out, which I think is good as well. And in the back of that fantastic win at the weekend, you want to keep all your best players. Hibs need to try and get that 4th place.
Yeah, there is a story though. There's definitely a story. There's got to be something on that. I mean, I just hope, I don't know if it's going to come out in the wash or not, but there is a story. You can't go all the way down there to Millwall and then suddenly the deal's off. And I don't know if you watched yesterday's show, but Ruffy is now studying the size of cases that people take to the airport, because that gives you an insight into whether they're staying for a while.
All that stuff. You always get a Celtic or Rangers fan who's spotted a player in B&Q. You know, you think he's coming to us. But it's great. It's not maybe as, is it just me? It's not maybe as busy as it used to be.
No.
The transfer window.
But what do you think of Nisbet then? That story, is it, you know, some people suggested it was the ACL, it came up in a scan. Some people suggest he probably had a look at Millwall and thought, don't fancy that.
Well, call me an old cynic, but what I thought would be key to everything would be looking at the first potential wage slip. You know, and if he was happy with that, you think he would have gone, because the minute a player, I know you're going to come to Tony Watt later, but when he left Motherwell, then for all the flack that he was getting, MD with half a brain there, he was saying, well, he was apparently on treble his money. So would you do that wherever you work? Would you refuse to go elsewhere out of loyalty if you were going to triple your wages? So it'd be interesting to see what the gap was there between what Hibs pay him. You know, maybe they'd put another offer on the table before he did get in, and that was enough to give him a second thought. Maybe he thought, you know what, I've just come back off an injury, and there he was in great form before he went. You had Tam McManus sitting right here where I'm saying he's the best player in Scotland. You know, so there could be a lot of stuff there. I think for Lance, instead of the cynicism and everybody being a sceptic, he just rejoice in the fact that he's staying at Hibs, and the Hibs fans could do with a boost anyhow. So 6-0, a fantastic result, despite the fact, you know, it's Aberdeen and all their troubles, because Hibs, if you like, I don't think they get the right credit for that yet. The whole story was Aberdeen, obviously. That's how I football works, but 6-0 to Hibs gives them a big lift. Kevin Nisbet presumably now staying. Great, happy days.
Yeah, what did you make of, I did mention it yesterday, what did you make of that picture of Jim walking across the pitch?
Well, you know what, I quoted your name, Peter. We were on air on Saturday on the radio, or maybe Sunday it was, Sunday it would have been, sorry, when you sent me it, and I was sitting there, we were doing our off the ball show on the Sunday, and I looked at my phone, Peter Martin, wonder what this is, and I looked at the picture, and I just showed it to Stuart, and you're right, it was heartbreaking. What it kept me in mind, and we would never have missed an episode of this. When you watch The Incredible Hulk, right? Lou Ferrigno is the Incredible Hulk. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? And then Bill Bixby, who played Dr. David Banner. And at the end of every episode, with the tinkly piano music, down, 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 he'd walk away with his bag, just like Jim Goodwin, away into another town, trying to find somewhere that'll get rid of this thing that turns him into the Hulk. And it was always tear-jerking. And that was a bit like that with Jim. It was brutal, because, you know, when it happens to guys, you know, that are deemed as good guys, right? Now, I only know Jim. I don't go out for a drink with Jim or go for a curry with Jim. I only know Jim through a couple of times only, coming into doing the show with us, but you can tell right away if somebody's a good guy or not, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's why I think in your heart of hearts you're allowed to feel sympathy for these guys. I know very little of it from Aberdeen fans, They were just wanting the guy to go. It was their club. The results had been absolutely humiliating. 11 goals in 2 games in Edinburgh within the space of a week and a half, and of course the exit to Darvel. But what I liked as well, the Aberdeen fans that were talking, kind of interviewed the news and stuff after the event, a lot of them did have a kind word to say for Jim. You know, they were saying he was a good guy, it was an exciting appointment at the time, they thought it was the right appointment at the time. Just didn't work out.
I like him as a person. I've got a lot of time for Jim as well. I just can't believe he got it woefully wrong. I'm gobsmacked. I thought it was a good appointment, Ruffy.
Yeah, I thought right at the very start he was doing all the right things. He was saying all the right things. He was trying to get all the supporters on board. He was going round before the games. He was going round applauding them. You know, and for a wee while, you know, things were good, the results were good. You know, there was a time when they were playing at home and they were scoring 4 goals in nearly every game, and then all of a sudden they lose to Celtic with a late goal, and then they lose to Rangers with 2 injury time goals, and after that it's just exploded. You know, and as a manager you've got to try and sort that out, and unfortunately with the players that he had, he couldn't turn it round.
What's the latest now with the new manager? What are the odds?
Funnily, here we go. Here are the odds, Tam. It's almost as if we rehearsed this. It's like a Grand Stop Panto the way you fired it in there. Chris Wilder at 2-1, Barry Robson 3-1, Neil Lennon 6-1, Martin Cifuentes, he's at 6-1, Paul Lambert 14-1, Jack Ross is 16-1. So there's the early runners and riders.
Tell me about Chris Wilder.
Well, Chris Wilder, Sheffield United boss, apparently a real genuine interest in it. I mean, I can't, in any way dismiss the fact that there's a genuine, seems to be a genuine interest there. Whether he is the ideal type of appointment to come up and offer something different within our game, you can be a good manager in some countries and then you haven't got a clue here. So I'm not sure about that. I don't doubt his credentials, but I wonder if it's something that Aberdeen should be looking at now. And I'm not suggesting for a minute, Ruffy, it should be a homegrown whatever. No. It should be the right man if they can get someone.
I think when you start mentioning people like Wilder, and Tom's a perfect example there, who is he, what's he done? You know, a lot of football people will know, like I didn't know what he'd done, but you obviously knew. I think when you're going for an appointment like that, somebody's advising you. And I mean a Sir Alex Ferguson or somebody who's picking the phone up, because that owner and the people that's on the board don't seem to have a big football knowledge, a big sort of a scattergun of who's all on the pulse.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there has to be an advisory there who's advising this owner, because he's already made a mess of it twice. So I think he should be approaching somebody like Sir Alex Ferguson, somebody in the game, somebody down south. He must know what's available up here, the guys we put up, Paul Lambert, Neil Lennon and all that. But
if you're Spaniard Cifuentes.
Yeah, but that has to be, I mean, I'm not dissing the owner of that, he wouldn't know who that is. He wouldn't know a track record of that. And it shouldn't, because he should have people at Aberdeen advising him, look, this is who's available. Yeah. So I think the next appointment is going to be somebody who has went into depth with the people that aren't the front runners to get this job.
I know what you did say there. I think it's going to be I do think because of Dave Cormack's association with getting Sir Alex up for the opening of the training ground, the statue and everything, it's the type of call that he would make to him to say, listen, you've got the 40-year-old Spaniard from he's now at Hammarby, I think, who's suddenly quoted in the running. It could be a home-based one, or it could be somebody that Fergie's thought of. He'll take advice, as Ruffy says, from a lot of people.
What about cutting out the middleman, just going for Fergie?
What?
Till the end of the season, let's say. So you've got young, sprightly coaches like Barry Robson and some of the backroom boys, but you get Sir Alex, you give him that call, come home. Yeah. Come up here just to the end of the season. If players couldn't play for him, I'm just meaning almost as a figure that would, like a hologram, it would be up there above Pataudry, and Alex Ferguson is ultimately in charge, but he lets the boys go on with the training and everything, and he's there as a figurehead. I mean, if boys as rank as Aberdeen have been, if you get players running out onto that pitch, no one to put in a performance for him, then they should chuck it.
Yeah. Try not to live up to that sweatshirt you're wearing at the moment, by the way, because
It's a hoodie.
there's not a catch chance in hell. But as Ruffy does, you've
Jack Ross, by the way, only because I don't think Jack Ross, I think he's taking a breather. I don't know if you knew, but he's studying for a master's degree.
He's been over in America as well,
and he's doing in Northumberland and that. So I would actually like a bet with a bookie if anyone would take it on it not being Jack Ross.
Yeah. The other aspect of this, which I think is something that everybody's got to bear in mind, is there's a big job Aberdeen, and there will be 50 to 100 applications from all over the place, Ruffy.
Oh, we had 50 applications for the Hamilton Accies job when that came up way back, so I wouldn't see any difference. There would be a lot of people at a job, a lot of managers at a job, a lot of coaches at a job, and you've just got to tick the right box. That's why I'm saying there need to be... I forgot Craig's on the board. So Craig, I know, was getting older, but I think Craig would have some kind of input. I'm sure Craig
Willie
would.
Garner,
I'm sure Craig, would have say, look, if you're going to start talking about this guy, this is the guy you talk to.
Aye.
This is the guy who tells you where this guy's been and where he is now, and is he the fit?
Okay,
it's a strange one on the respect that whoever they bring in, obviously they've got to get it right. But what's the wee carrot that's dangled in front of the manager in terms of making an impact this season? Because that's saying they're out of both cups, of course.
Aye.
Would it be a manager who could come in and I think third place looks beyond them as well. So what would be deemed success? Because you would like to think, I'll give you an example, when Stuart McCall came in to replace the aforementioned Craig Brown at Motherwell, when Craig skedaddled to Aberdeen. It was into the new year as well. It was around about this time of year, and Motherwell were already into the quarter-finals of the Cup, and Stuart came in at that stage, and then before you know it, he got us through to Hampden in the final against Celtic, albeit we get gubbed 3-0. But you know what, it was a real chance for him to show what he could do and put his team together and get some good results in the Cup. He get great results in the league. He was brilliant in the league. But I don't know what there is there for the Aberdeen manager coming in. I wonder if it's just about steadying the ship to the end of the season, try to get some decent results, and then, if you're an Aberdeen fan, hopefully the manager having a right good summer in terms of bringing in his own players, working with them, and getting after a flyer next year. Yeah,
well, the best bet is to try and get Aberdeen up to 4th. Is the most realistic objective.
What's the points now between them and Hearts?
Too far, 29 to 39.
10 points. Well, there's a challenge for a new manager.
Absolutely, it'll be a challenge, but there's not a catch chance in hell that Hearts are going to drop sufficient points to allow them to catch them in third, unless Fergie comes back. Dons have also signed Jay Gorter from Ajax, a goalie, and St Mirren, they've been active. They've got Tony Watt on a loan deal from Dundee United, and they're also trying to get Alec Lowry. What do you make of that, Ruffy?
Yeah, well, Rangers already said, they've got the full quota of midfield. The boy Lowry needs to go out and prove that he's got progress in him, and they'll be monitoring everything he does. I think he'd be good anytime he's got a chance to play for Rangers. He's been impressive. I also saw that St Mirren have cashed in as well, and a couple of their younger players who have left, and they've got about 200,000 or 300,000 for that. So I think St Mirren have already said financially they're a wee bit strapped just now, so they're getting a couple out off the books, and that seems to be the case. And what a difference it is for the transfer deadline in Scotland and the transfer deadline in England. I'm sitting watching Sky Sports.
Oh, I know.
It's 119 million, it's 90 million, it's 65 million, it's 49 million, and we're loans and we're players at 2 million and 3 million. It just shows you the incredible gulf between the two
I'll leave
countries.
the English fact, but Man United turned down a bid for Arsenal for, what was the boy? Is it Russo?
Yeah, that's the ladies' team. That's the ladies' team.
Well, can you let me finish? I'm saying, even at that, Ruffy's saying you're seeing the figures. What I'm saying is what figure was Man United?
400,000.
Right, and you're not, well, thank you, putting in. My point was that you're not going to see a figure like that in the men's game up here. It's unimaginable.
Well, listen, I could dedicate a show as to why we are at that situation here in this country, but there's no point, because it just opens up a hornet's nest. Right now, we are where we are.
Exactly.
We don't have, if we'd market ourselves properly and stop all the infighting, backstabbing, lots of clubs would have more money. But
I'm shocked though still at the Tony Watt one. I mean, Stevie Robinson going for a former Motherwell player.
Yeah. I can't believe the whole situation. I mean, listen, Dundee United are probably privy to things that they maybe look at and see in training, the manager or whatever, that they just don't fancy. Tony Watt, I thought he was good at Motherwell. I certainly thought he was good at Dundee United for periods, and better than some of the players that they had. But I don't know, there's something in the background there that just thought, well, we're going to let him go. It could be, by the way, that they might look and say to themselves, well, the wage bill.
Yeah, I would guess the wage bill. I think Dundee United have went quite heavy over the last couple of years, and this might be the time for them as well when they produce their accounts that there's a loss there as well, and they have to. You really have to actively look and say what's the best deal for the club. Fletcher's doing particularly well, so this might be just the time to say, well, let's save some money.
Ruffy, here's a guess. You would know more about this than me, or indeed Peter. Tony Watt, let's say just to use a figure, he was on £4,000 a week at Dundee United. He goes to St Mirren. How much of that does St Mirren pay?
Is it a loan? Is it on loan?
A loan.
Well, they have to.
They go half-halves or what?
They make a deal between each other. Sometimes it can be different. It can be, right, we'll take 2,000 it.
Aye, because I'm just thinking with St Mirren's.
But another thing sometimes they throw in is if you don't play them,
aye,
we're not coping for the whole lot.
Right.
Some things.
I'm just thinking with St Mirren's situation, and how well documented with the finances, they wouldn't be picking up his whole wage bill, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right,
well, that's what I'm just saying. I think they released a couple of young boys, so that's wages off the bracket. Plus, they've got maybe 4 or 5.
I like Lowry. When it only seems like yesterday was handing out his prizes at my old school when he came up to get his certificates, and all the teachers, the headmistress were, "Tam, watch this wee guy. He's great at the football. He's going to, next minute I hear he'd signed with Rangers. Next minute you see him playing the telly, scoring goals." That's the sort of one as well. I know I'm letting my heart roll, my head tear, but I wish we could have moved in and get him in loan.
Well, there's still time for Alec Lowry to go away and get regular first team football, and then who knows, maybe go back to Rangers and offer a different angle for the manager to contemplate once he gets regular football. But certainly I hope he does go and get regular football rather than sitting waiting on the bench for whatever reason, that he's not maybe at that level according to Michael Beale. We will find out. So keep it locked here to PLZ Soccer. On the app you'll get all the latest breaking news and the transfers as well. So just briefly, Ross County Hibs, what did you go? By the way, Aberdeen have just actually added Angus MacDonald on a short-term permanent deal. He's from English League Two side Swindon. So
who brought him in?
But that's the way the whole thing goes now. He's in the defence because they badly needed 2 central defenders, and the club, the scouts, they bring them in, and then the coach has to come in and just coach what they've got. Whereas, by the way,
so with Barry Robson, for example, had any saying that? Or was that even maybe a deal that was lingering for last week with Jim Goodwin?
Well, that would be the.
Or was it Dave Cormack's brought him in?
Get the recruitment, the head of recruitment turn around and say, get him in, we need him for there, and the manager will have to coach them. Now, I don't know about you, Ruffy, but see some of the managers who've actually still got a say on the players that they want in, the type of players, the calibre of them, and they've done a bit of research. That's still the ideal barometer for me, for a manager to have a greater chance of success. If you know the type of player you want, you know a little bit about them, and in some cases, and it still happens, managers go and bloody watch them.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have been on the radar for a while. I mean, I think the Rangers signing, I think they've been watching him for they played, is it Anderlecht?
Yeah.
They played them in the Euro. So I've often said that when Celtic and Rangers are playing European football,
He's played for Standard Liège.
There must be somebody that they play against in Europe that's caught the eye. So you just write that wee name down in a book, whether it's a young boy or whatever. You keep an eye on him. Somebody keeps an eye on him this year, next year. Is he in the Belgium under-21 team, or where is he? And then all of a sudden, if the money's right, then you go for it. But you're right, Pierre. A manager who doesn't go down and watch a player that they're going to sign is in a recipe, because we all can watch. We can watch videos of 10 best goals or 10 thingies and that, but it's about consistency. It's about how many games does he play in a season? How often is he injured? How many goals is he scoring? You know, there's a CV out there. The game has moved on so much. I think Celtic have got, over at Lennoxton, they've got a room, haven't they? They've got a room where they just fire up a guy and they've got all his CV and all his assists and his goals and everything. And that's the way the game is now.
Listen, I had 1-1 for Ross County Hibs, and you...
Ross County Hibs.
You had 1-1.
Have I done 1-1?
Yeah.
You're assuming that when I batter out these results in a text message back to Cheryl in the office, I take this seriously.
No. I think I've placed you and Hugh in you and Hugh are in the category. I wish I hadn't invited them into this in the first place. But
we're currently in the category who he's bought when I'm in the playoff position. Is that right?
He's never.
Is he done?
He's done. We're not going back to that restaurant, but Hugh's taking his all and the staff to somewhere. In his
right, okay, so I've gone one each tonight.
You've gone one.
I think because Ross County, you know, they get the result when it mattered against Kilmarnock at the weekend, 3-0.
Can they beat the drop?
Quite impressive. Well, you know, everybody always says, and it'll be interesting to see if they do any last day business, everybody always assumes that Ross County pull a couple of rabbits out the hat.
Well, Eamon Brophy was a good one. He scored after 10 minutes.
I would have taken him as well, you know. I wonder if he's another one. Eamon Brophy. No, just, you know, and it's like a bit like the boy... kind of left-sided player as well, but a guy that I'd always wish Muller would go for a while. He didn't make the most of it at Rangers, the boy Jordan Jones.
Yeah.
Right, and he's another guy that I thought, you know, he just looks quite dynamic, very, very talented, skillful. I'm not surprised Eamon Brophy went up there and made an instant impact, but I think tonight, at least, you know, it'd be good seeing the Hibs fans going up there and enjoying a wee away day trip for a change in the back of that 6-0. They'll be buzzing, and maybe the draw is the right result there. I've gone one each, yeah. Right, I'll happy with that.
That's the three is. The three is.
1-1?
3 is, we went 1-1, yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it noticeable all these teams are buying strikers?
Well, of course, need goals, absolutely.
Would I be right in thinking it for the rest of the season? If in our group chat, if I see Huey's predictions first and I just copy him, then I can't lose.
Well,
yes, in a word, yeah.
You could do that, but I would if you did do that, I'll be honest with you, I'd change tact with you on the after dinner circuit.
Right, okay.
I'd just constantly, it would be a battle between the two of us.
Right, okay.
Right? Whereas I like your own individuality where I like you making an arse of it on your own.
Good. Right, okay.
You've got one here in this, and I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you to justify this story. No, there's one in here where I think to myself, there he is. He's at his usual lunacy.
Right, what's that?
Prediction. You've got a 9-0 in here.
I thought you meant Motherwell to beat St Johnstone.
Oh, you've got a 9-0.
Well, Hearts are on fire.
Even you wouldn't go for that. But we'll get your predictions shortly. So, with that in mind, Aberdeen St Mirren. Where are you going with that one?
Aberdeen St Mirren, you know, I think I may have that down for a draw as well, have I?
You've got Aberdeen 1-0.
Oh, 1-0, sorry, I'm going for the bounce. Sorry,
Right.
I was going when I first put it in. I think St Mirren have been terrific, but mainly they're home for them, of course, St Mirren. And I just wonder if even just because they're due some sort of result, if the bounce can still happen with a caretaker, a temporary manager, in this case Barry Robson and his colleagues, then, you know, 1-0. I think that seems quite sensible.
I've got 1-0 as well. I can't believe it, Tom. But the only thing I would say, Ruffy, off the back of it is, if it does finish 1-0 to Aberdeen, it makes you sick to the stomach of a group of players who basically cheated their manager. They're a bunch of charlatans, and if any of them come out and start saying, you know, oh, woe is me, I've got to do this, you'll get it right, then I think that the people who are reading it, who are true Aberdeen fans, should just get the newspaper and tear it up.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%, but I do also agree with what Tom McManus said yesterday. I don't believe any player on the football park would chuck it. I don't think you. If you were that kind of person, you shouldn't be at the club anyway. But it's your teammate.
You know,
you're playing for your teammates. You know yourself, but you're playing for your teammate. Whether you like the manager or no is a different matter. You're out there trying to entertain. You're out there for the supporters. You're out there to win games and send them all down the road with a smile on your face. That's the one. But I agree with you. I don't want anybody coming out with quotes here and there and we should have done it.
But you know what? Nobody has come out. The bottom line is there was demands, and quite right demands, very strenuous almost pleas for an absolute, the ultimate club legend at Aberdeen, Willie Miller. and the radio in the back of the 6-0 humping, Willie was saying, right, is there going to be any players come out here and stand up to the media and say what they want to say? They were meant to have been backing it. It was, oh no, we've got Jim Goodwin's back. You know, he was promised that the players, no, we're with you, Jim. You haven't lost the dressing room, and that's why there was so many people. I mean, myself included, Pierre. I was, and I did bet them. I was telling you last week my winnings from the Darvel game, which were quite sensational. But I lumped on Aberdeen at Easter Road at 5-2 because it was a matter of the revolver had been put to Jim Goodwin's head by Dave Cormack, and they said, right, we need results and we need them immediately, and immediately meant at Easter Road. And I thought, 5-2, if these players have got anything about them, if they are telling the truth and they are behind their manager, surely to goodness they're going to go out and beat what had been a pretty hopeless Hibs team.
Yeah, absolutely. Gregor says, Peter, half the team from Easter Road will be dropped tomorrow. Gregor, I wouldn't put it against Barry Robson just to actually do that and make that call. It'll be interesting to see what the team selection is for the game. So what did you say, Ruffy, for Aberdeen?
2-1.
2-1 Aberdeen? Okay, so you're going for the bounce as well. Don't forget, you can engage with us on the programme. A wee bit of banter, like a wee bit of chat about the footy, and over and above that, we like you to engage with each other sensibly, and obviously offer your own opinion to us, and we'll try and get back to as many of you as possible. And we also give you the opportunity, if you hit the subscribe button, to be in with a chance of winning some of our fabulous prizes that we give away in the competition. That's not only on YouTube, but we've got it across Facebook and Twitter as well, so you can enter many different ways, answering a simple question and hitting the subscribe button as well. And thanks to so many of you who've done that. Try and keep it sensible on the feed, because what we try and do more often than not is 99% of the people who come on the programme and offer us their opinion are sensible people. There's always the 1% that we try and ban, just to try and keep them away from normal people who live normal lives. Is that feasible, Ruffy?
Feasible. And I still think we should get the t-shirts.
Oh, the t-shirt's on its way.
No, we'll have to
I've started it. I've got the t-shirt ready. Tam will obviously have it on. This is not the show for you.
All right. I know a guy that can make them.
It's just for nutcases. Do you know what I mean?
Same gentleman. Brave Scottish Gifts that did Ruffy's tops.
Yeah.
If you want them made up, just give me the nod.
Two lovely
Maybe
t-shirts.
two lovely t-shirts he got.
Yeah.
And Partick
Oh,
Thistle
the Partick Thistle one. Of course, the guy made them up for you.
Yeah,
didn't
they're
he?
great. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, it's in the process. I'll speak to you about that. Rangers. I think it's a game of the tomorrow. Certainly Hearts against Rangers. Really looking forward to it. And as ever, when the managers are speaking, we send our man Adam Binney out on the case.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside the Orium for this afternoon's Heart of Midlothian press conference. As we know, it's transfer deadline day, so we're speaking to Robbie Neilson about some players that they've been linked with. He has spoken openly about his pursuit of Callum Patterson from Sheffield Wednesday, but speaking to Robbie Neilson today, it doesn't seem like he's too confident that they'll be able to get anything over the line before the window shuts.
Look, we're interested in a number of players, but it's very quiet at the moment, as it is everywhere, so we'll just wait and see how the next 12 hours goes. Look, there's a couple that we're looking at the moment, but it's late in the window, so it's we're still trying, but it'll be difficult.
Instead, Neilson's focus is on tomorrow night when they host Rangers at Tynecastle in the Scottish Premiership. Earlier this month, Michael Beale, the Rangers boss, was quoted saying that he actually believed Aberdeen to be the third best team in the league. Speaking at his press conference yesterday, he corrected himself, said he got that one wrong, and that he subsequently apologised to Robbie Neilson through a mutual friend. So we were asking Neilson about what that conversation entailed and got his reaction to Beale's comments.
Yeah, it was just through a friend of a friend, so obviously everyone's open to their opinion. Some people think we are, some people think we're not. I think these stories sometimes get blown out of proportion, and everyone's desperate for a headline, so it means it's no skin off our nose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what is it with people? Are people so sensitive these days that they go tonto when a manager says Aberdeen are the third force in Scotland? If you get it woefully wrong, you get it woefully wrong. I wouldn't beat him over the head with it.
No, I mean that's, you want a line, don't you? That's what we say, don't you? You want somebody to say something that we can discuss, and if he gets it wrong, even better.
Yeah, of course. Listen, Michael Beale's big enough and man enough to admit that he just called it as he saw it, and he got it wrong.
you need to listen to these words. They're the third best team in the country, because I know I got a bit of stick for getting that wrong. It wasn't. I sent Robbie a message via a mutual friend straight after, because I knew I'd made a mistake there. I honestly hadn't looked at the league table, and I know that sounds crazy, but I know where my team are in the league. You guys tell me every week where I am and how many points I am behind, so there's no need for me to look at a league table. So there was no disrespect in that. I think Robbie's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's quite happy to say got it wrong, Tam, and rightly so. I think Michael Beale just wants to get on with the job that he's got to do at Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. But by the same token, I always laugh when managers are asked about the team they're playing in their preview. They could be up against a team that's just lost 40 games in a row, hasn't scored a goal, and they'll say, we always know we're in for a tough game here. You know, I'd like to see a bit of honesty coming into that as well. You know, there's no easy games at this level, or such and such a place is never an easy place to go, and you think, well, can you name one that is? Come on, you must know one that is.
Yeah.
You know, but they're never going to admit that. But you know what, my great shame there is that Hearts against Rangers, you know, and Robbie Neilson at the weekend was talking about they've still get their sights set on Rangers and trying to, you know, get second in the league, which is great. They have been in smashing form. They've got some great players. They're backed with that magnificent capacity crowd every game at Tynecastle, and you can't watch it on the telly. You know, no, I'm going to go and see my team as well, and we'll have a smashing me day and a smashing me night. But I would like to have come home at night on Wednesday and just been able to put on my recording of Hearts against Rangers, sit with a cup of tea and watch the game, because it's absolute box office, that one, you know.
Yeah.
And particularly because Celtic are playing Livy, and you don't need to be a bookie to know that Celtic are strong favourites for that. So it gives the Hearts Rangers game a real edge in terms of the Celtic Rangers battle as well.
It just shows you what Tam's all about, like so many other people, which is quite simply, you know, the demand now to be able to watch it on television is incredible, which is why I think in the next maybe 10 years, roughly, possibly less than that, possibly 5 years, looking for ways to actually increase the revenue coming in to the game. I think Scottish football may well adopt, like so many other European countries, that attitude of DAZN, which is quite simply they offer you the chance on the tablet, the phone, wherever, pay your tenner, you watch the game, and obviously the cut of that goes to the clubs as well, and then it's the clubs' real task is to try and get fans through the turnstiles.
Yeah, I think that's what the programme was. We had 5 clubs all meeting together and coming up with an idea, and I think that was one of their ideas. Unfortunately for us, we've got that voting system. You know, any time we try to pass something that's sensible, somebody hits it in the head, and it never gets taken any further. Oh, good ideas. A lot of the stuff that is just getting put in the bank burner, and we'll talk about it later on when we should be talking about it now.
I think the first thing it will go, Peter, because don't get me wrong, as much as that game's on the telly tomorrow night, there's part of me still quite happy about that in terms of encouraging. I mean, you know, I know, in fact, I sit next to some Motherwell fans who they're not particularly happy the way we've been playing, they're not happy with results, and if you don't have a season ticket for Fir Park to go to the St Johnstone game, if Hearts Rangers was live on the telly and the weather was absolutely rotten, as it's almost guaranteed to be, it's, you know, a very easy option just to say, you know what, I'll just sit in the house tonight. Or if you pay cash at the gate, you know, I'll go up to the pub and my £24 whatever, I'll just buy my drink with that and sit and watch the game.
Well, why don't you put money together? You put a wee bit of dosh, some of the stuff that you might have stashed away. Ruffy, obviously the money from his Partick Thistle days, we'll get it together and we'll get a wee flight out to Thailand, where Tommy Adams has just said it's on my telly. so we could get out there. I mean, how long is the flight to Thailand? Ruffy, you'll know.
Oh, it's got to be 10 hours anyway. 11
hours. Yeah. We need to head out tonight, get there, and then
time difference.
Sit with Tommy. A little bit uneasy because you don't really know Tommy that well. We're sitting in his house.
That's fine.
And then you kind of
never been. It's meant to be beautiful. My sister's been, said it was very smart, clean. People were the most people were the most polite that she'd ever come across. Sounds like a great place. The food will be out of this world.
Well, I would imagine what we do is we get in a wee bit of uneasiness, quick chit chat, then sit down in the house, few tinnies, some of the Thai food, watch the game, and say to Tommy, thanks, and then back on the flight.
Yeah, and how many bolts would we have to put in Tommy's door to make sure Ruffy doesn't go out for the nightlife?
I'll just get my producer said to me the average flight time. 11 and a half hours.
It's all right.
Still, we could get there. Tommy, if you, I don't know how much.
Go on, Tommy. Can we broadcast a show for Tommy's living room?
Absolutely, we could.
We have the technology.
Ask Tommy to send us the flight tickets.
And the spending money.
Yes.
Can I say something else about the telly, by the way? I think it's only a matter of time before. We know there's different rules in place for the midweek matches, because the Hearts Rangers could easily be in the telly at the same time as other games. They don't do that yet. 3 o'clock on a Saturday, that'll be next. You know that thing about we can't show a game live on the telly at 3 o'clock on a Saturday when there's other fixtures, as it all kind of dissipates, if that's the right word, and you get fixtures Friday night, Sunday, into Monday. I think that will go. I mean, that was sacrosanct, that you couldn't get a game live on the telly, but it's all about choice. And if folk are wanting to go and watch their team, they will go and watch their team. A live game wouldn't put me off going to see Motherwell. That's always my first port of call. But I would at least record it and tuck it by. And that, tomorrow night, Hearts against Rangers, can Hearts put a wee dent in Rangers' bid for second, or can Rangers get a magnificent one at Tynecastle, maybe even hoping for a wee upset for Lovey at Parkhead, even a wee draw or something, to gain 2 points on Celtic? It's a huge game, and I think everybody would want it in the box.
If Hearts were to win, they'd go on to 42 points, Ruffy, and Rangers would be on 55. I can't see them catching Rangers, but it's certainly got that one-off real appeal to it. Rangers could have Nicholas Raskin in. I think what they'll do is they'll wait till about 6 o'clock to try and just keep the whole thing to themselves, get him pictured next to the Rangers emblem, and then it's for the next day for us all to discuss it in detail. But looks as if he's coming in, and that I think will conclude his business, Michael Beale.
Yeah, he looks as if he's going for a different kind of player. He's obviously gone for a younger player that they're looking to the future, which I think is the first time for a wee while. That they've been taking a lot of loan players in and short-term players. So no, I think this is the right way ahead. It's a progression. Bringing other players in, and it remains to be seen. What kind of style they play, what kind of formation with these two new midfield players coming in. And who'll be stepping aside, because I've seen today was obviously, you mentioned Lowry moving on, Sands might be moving on. He's obviously made his mind up that this is the long-term players I want here.
What's your prediction?
I've went Rangers 2-1.
2-1.
You can tell me.
I've gone 2-2. Well, I've got a wee bit of chat as well that's come out, but your prediction, Tam, you've gone...
I've gone 1-0.
You've gone Hearts 2, Rangers 1.
Oh, 2-1, right. I knew I'd gone for a home win. I think Hearts are in really, really good form, and I can see them getting the 3 points on Wednesday night.
I've gone 2-2. What do you think? Give us your thoughts on that for a wee prediction. And Andy Lothian says, Peter, you can watch every game in the United States on Rangers TV for £10 at one of our local supporters clubs, if it's not on regular sports TV. So
don't give you the address, or we'll be shocked with the more.
No, but this is a tenner on US TV. Yeah, that's ideal, Andy. Of course, that'd be good to go over to the United States and for a tenner. Not sure we'd be welcome, but we could go to Andy's house. We'd be safe there.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. That's great. It'd be sunny as well.
When my mate was staying out in San Francisco, he was out there for about 4 years. He's back now. I'll obviously not name the person, but there was somebody who is presently involved in senior Scottish football in a coaching capacity, who was a pal of my mates from school.
Right.
And when he went out to visit him, he took him out a fire stick. And don't know if it was legal or not, but he took him out a fire stick. And from San Francisco, my mate saw more Scottish football than I get close to seeing.
Wow.
He had every single game there. And would that have been illegal?
Yes, they're clamping down on it for a lot of people who've got these illegal sticks with the games on them. I think I read somewhere there was a real purge on it over the weekend, trying to clamp down on the people who are obviously facilitating it and those who are buying it and watching it.
You can understand the clubs for a start, because you just gave me a wee flashback there, Peter. I remember, must be 15 years ago now. And it was up, I'll just say it was in the West End of Glasgow. I had just finished a lunchtime show, and we had an early finish that day for whatever reason, and Motherwell were at Parkhead, and I had a ticket, but I was going to first go up and meet one of my mates who was a mad Celtic fan. I was going to meet him for a couple of drinks, then we were going to share a taxi out to Parkhead, go a Rainway and meet up later and go for a curry or whatever, right? But the bar that we were in, I could have named it because it's no longer there. Basically, as you went into the bar, they were like, and even outside the main door on the street, they were very in the quiet, handing you a wee pamphlet, and it was about what live games they were showing on the QT. Right. And when we were in there, it was around about in October. The weather was rotten, to go back to that theme. The weather was absolutely honking, and we were enjoying a pint, and then we suddenly realised that the Celtic Motherwell game at 3 o'clock was being shown in here when you were snug, toasty, beer on tap. And you know what, that is a danger. We never went to the game. Me and my mate looked at each other and we both knew what we were thinking, and we'd already bought our tickets as well. Yeah. And that's the battle you're fighting. So I've got a lot of sympathy when it comes to clubs trying to protect the product, because it's an easy thing today to watch games on the telly. Yeah,
good point, Tom. Celtic against Livingston. Ange Postecoglou, is there anybody else coming in?
With today sort of being deadline day for these things, there won't be any other incomings, and in terms of outgoings, still some things happening in the background, but again, nothing confirmed yet. Yeah, from my perspective, everything we sort of wanted to get done and sort of we look to try and do within this window, we've got there.
Yeah, and I think you'll be fairly happy. I expect to see 2 or 3 players heading out the door, possibly on loan at Celtic. Giacomakis, that'll be a permanent deal. I think the work permit's the only thing slowing that down now, Ruffy. But as far as some of the players that are never getting anywhere near the bench, I think you'll want some of them to get game time before an eventual move. I don't think you could bring anybody else in. There's no room in that left in the bench, Ruffy.
No, certainly not. You know, but I think the Celtic supporters will be happy that it's all done and dusted. No more of the marquee signing coming in at 10 to 12 at night, and they're all outside Parkhead waiting and the bus coming up and everything. You know, so no, I think that the supporters will be happy that the stuff that he's done it very, very quickly, and I think the fans have all bought into everything he's done. I remember a Celtic fan saying, "Oh, what about that signing? Yeah, that's a nightmare." I haven't heard any. There has been some disappointing signings, but I mean the big ones have all been good.
Okay. Against a Livingston side with a manager that he's good copy. He's certainly good to listen to, David Martindale, and
his name wasn't up as a runner and rider for the Aberdeen job, which I find astonishing.
Well, I think he's quoted as...
I know, he said it himself. He reckons the big jobs are sadly beyond him because folk are going to look at his past. But dearie me, does a man not deserve a second chance in this world?
I think he does, because I think he's a good manager.
And you know what? I think he's a good man, right? He's had his troubles in the past, but he absolutely addressed them head on, and he sorted himself out. He did it in a proper fashion, and I think it'd be outrageous. No harm whatsoever to Livingston, he says, before Peter says how I think the game's going to go tomorrow. That was just for a bit of fun. But no harm to Livingston. But I just think for what that guy has done there, A, deserves a move to a bigger club, and B, I am fascinated at the prospect of Davy Martindale, for what he's done at Livy, suddenly having just a wee bit of money to play about with, as he would get at Aberdeen, to see what he could do.
Yeah, it's a good point, Tom. Whether that's going to happen or not is another matter. I'll get Celtic to win 3-0.
I think I've been impressed with Livingston defensively, but I'm going to go Celtic 2-0.
See it coming. I don't know why he does it. Honestly,
Have I gone, Peter?
You have got a Celtic 9, Livingston 0.
Did I put the wee video printer back? Did I put 9 in words in brackets after the 9?
I was
grandstand.
I was waiting on you putting in brackets, Martindale must go.
No, I just went for a daft one there. Yeah. There are nights when I've watched Celtic absolutely toying with Motherwell at least a couple of times this season, and I just think Celtic are the sort of team they know that if everything clicks, and see if they fancy putting on a show and their players just look as if they're enjoying it. I can just always see them giving some unlucky club an absolute doing.
Right, okay, what about Kilmarnock against Dundee United? Killie have signed Luke Chambers from Liverpool on loan. I think Derek McInnes is really under P to try and get. I mean, Ruffy's got his face on that pompous face because he's predicted Killie to go down. But this one is a battle at the bottom with two of four teams, I beg your pardon, on 20 points.
Absolutely. In Alaska again, runners and riders, the bookies, was Derek McInnes quoted?
No.
For a comeback? Because they do realise they might have made a wee bit of a mess of that. You know.
I don't think he would be welcome back.
You don't? No. Right, okay, fair enough. I just thought, when you, he was far from a dud up there.
Well, I'm not suggesting he was a dud. I think the Aberdeen fans had probably had him just that's beyond the shelf line.
Right, okay, I'm just chucking it in. There might have been somebody that fancied him back up there, but yeah, they'll need to start. I mean, obviously, big king for Killie. There's this brilliant fight with 4 clubs down at the bottom as things stand. But the big thing for Derek, he was quoted himself on it. I think it was maybe the chairman at Killie. When they brought in Derek in the championship, you knew that they meant business, right? And they didn't bring in somebody like Derek just to go up and go back down, be a yo-yo club or anything like that. They were looking. I've got a feeling that Derek will see them over the line.
Who did you go for to go down?
Now you're asking, it might have been this season. I thought it might have been Ross County.
Yeah, okay. Ruffy, what are you saying for this one? Killie, Dundee United?
I was impressed a wee bit with Dundee United at the weekend. I think Dundee United get more in them, but I still think Kilmarnock will pick up a fight. I don't think either of the two of them will win this game, so I'm going one each.
Did I tell you my theory about the jerseys? When we were, I don't know if I brought this up, and I was talking to our mutual friend, Johnny Gagan, ex-Motherwell player, of course, and the greatest ever Motherwell team when we hosted that night, Peter, years ago. The Motherwell were wearing a retro strip this season. Forget the charity one that I did, but the first strip, the first kit, Claret number, that is very much retro. That was the kit that we wore back in 1983, so it was like a 40th anniversary thing as well. But it was also the kit that we were wearing, and I can still see guys in it like Joe Carson, Johannes Edvalson, right? It was a kit we were wearing the last time Motherwell get relegated.
Oh. Well,
spooky.
Oh, it is spooky.
Believe in that stuff.
Where did you go, Killie, Dundee United? Do you remember?
Have a look.
Okay, you have got Killie 0-0, so a snore draw. I've got Killie 0, Dundee United 1.
I've got one each.
Okay, last one, running out of time. We mentioned them at the top of the show. Looks as if Zach Rudden's going to sign for St Johnstone on loan. Now, he's a boy, I think, that'll get them goals. And it's Motherwell St Johnstone. What's your prediction?
Motherwell St Johnstone, I have gone for a narrow Motherwell victory. I'm hoping the wee lift we'll get with the young Japanese guy playing. I'm hoping that big Mikael Madron comes back in. 2 goals in his first 90 minutes. Okay, it was up at Arbroath, but that's fine. Hard place to score, wind, rain, etc, etc. It was a banana skin, but he did the bizzle. So I'm hoping that could be enough to get what is Stevie Hamill needs a win, right?
If he doesn't get a win, is he under pressure?
He's under pressure now. Stevie knows that, and there's even die-hard Motherwell fans starting sentences with, "I know he's a legend, but." And I'm hearing too much of it. So Stevie needs a result starting tomorrow night.
Okay, Ruffy?
I'm going to go a home win because no Considine, no McGowan, and no Clark.
Clark. Good shout.
I'm going to go Motherwell 2-1.
Great.
Motherwell
2-1.
2-1.
Same as me.
Okay, right. No, I was just thinking, I've got Motherwell 1, St Johnstone 2.
Bag.
I was just about to say to you. Okay, the quiz, just before we go, Troops, the quiz answer, do you know?
I was going to say Buffel.
Thomas Buffel, well done.
Is that the answer?
That's the answer, yeah.
Right, even when I said it, I wasn't 100% sure it was Belgium. Thought it might have been French, but right, there we go. Well done.
2005, and also the couple of things, Ruffy, would you get Thomas Buffel?
Yeah, I got Thomas Buffel, yeah.
Okay, just before we go, here's another chance to see the Here's the competition.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. If you would like to win this replica Luka Modric shirt, then all you have to do is answer this simple question. Just tell us, which country does Luka Modric play for? Post your answer in the comment section below, and to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that as well. Absolutely brilliant. So there you have it. You've got a chance to win that competition. If you hit the subscribe button as well, you'll double your opportunity to maybe win that brilliant shirt that I've got behind me there. Take my word for it, even though Tam says you can't see it. Great to have Tam on with us. And of course, Ruffy, join us tomorrow.
See, before we go, I respect your opinion. Do you think, there's a great wee barbers in here that I go to, do you think I need a shave than that?
It's unusual to see you kind of looking rough like that, Tam.
Was it? Right, so I'll go up. Aye.
I think you should. Yeah,
fine.
Absolutely.
You're always well groomed, so's Ruffy.
Yeah, he goes and gets the whole... the softish, and then
the boys know what they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, to be fair, you've got an hour, and then the flight leaves for Thailand for Tommy's house.
That's good.
It's 11.5-hour flight, Tam.
Always got a funny feeling the Turkish barbers are talking about me when I'm in though. No, my ears are burning.
On that note, thanks to Tam. Good night.